Hello everyone, I hope everyone's having a good day today. Today I just want to show off a deck list for Melffys. They're one of my favorite decks right now. They're not the most competitive deck, but they're very budget friendly. And they have great rank 2 XE plays and level 4 synchro plays. So let's get started. The first major card that just came out recently was Melffy Wally. You want to play 3 of this. It's essential for the deck. So 1 or 2 major things that most of the Melffys do is when your opponent summons a monster or attacks the card, that monster can bounce back to the hand and then activate an effect. And at the end of your turn, they can also special summon themselves from your hand. So what Melffy Wally says is it has the bounce back condition if your opponent summons a card or attacks it. Then when it's added to your hand, you can special summon 2 Melffys from the deck. This is so helpful for the deck. It helps continue their plays. So you do want to play 3 of this. Next we play 3 Melffy Puppies. So Melffy Puppy says, again, if your opponent summons a monster or attacks it, bounce it back to the hand, and then special summon a level 2 or lower beast from your deck. This is really good. You can either summon a Melffy monster, or we can summon some other level 2 beast monsters from the deck. We'll get into those in a minute, and also Melffy Puppy has the, at the end of your turn, can be special summoned from your hand. Next we'll play 3 Melffy Caddies. So Melffy Caddy says, again, when it could bounce back to your hand, and then if it does bounce back to your hand, you could search a beast monster and add it to your hand. This is really great because we could search for a couple of Melffys that we could play on our opponent's turn, but also we could search for other beast monsters that we may want to play on our turn, or any other type of interruptions. We'll get into a few of those options in a minute here, but this is really good. I would play 3. Next, we have Melffy Penny. So I play 2. You could play 1 if you want to, but I prefer 2 of them in the deck. So what Melffy Penny says is, when the turn you've added a beast monster from the field to your hand, you can quick effect special summon Melffy Penny, and then immediately synchro summon with him and another Melffy monster in your hand. So the quick effect is, you don't have to activate it right after you add a guy back to your hand. It just becomes active after you add a guy back to your hand. And this is great to go into a synchro that may interrupt your opponent's plays. And again, we'll talk about that later. But Melffy Penny is a great target for Melffy Caddy. And also Melffy Penny says, at the end of the turn, if this card's in the graveyard, or during your end phase, if this card's in the graveyard, you can target 1 beast XE monster you control and attach it to that card. That helps so much with some plays we'll see later, but in general, it's very good just to give your monsters more materials. And then for the last main deck Melffy monster we play is Melffy Pony. Again, your opponent summons or attacks it, bounce it back to the hand. If it's added from the field to the hand, you can add a level 2 or lower beast from your graveyard and then add that back to your hand. Not the best effect in the deck, but it does help recycle resources. So if you need a recycle, this is your best option, or one of the best options. Next we do play 3 Rescue Cats. So Rescue Cat is great for this deck. We have a few starters in this deck, and Rescue Cat's one of them. So Rescue Cat, you can tribute it and then special summon 2 level 3 or lower beasts from your deck, but their effects are negated and they go to the graveyard at the end of the turn. So you could go into a Melffy card and then exceed them, link them away, whatever. But we do go into a few other options if we're able to, and we'll get into those in a minute. Then we also play 3 Nimble Beavers. So Nimble Beaver, if you summon this normal summon Nimble Beaver, you can special summon another Nimble from your deck. It is so good. It helps the deck so much. Again, we could go into rank plays, we could go into link plays. We'll get into those options in a minute, but this helps us so much. Next, we play 3 Tosas. I would probably just stick with 2. 3 gets a little bit bricky, but it's still great to have more options to pop cards, because what Tosa, I am sorry, I butchered that name badly, says if this is special summoned by a beast monster effect, you can pop 1 card on the field. And so that would be for like Melffy Puppies effect, summon a level 2 beast. This helps so much with just getting rid of stuff on your opponent's board. Next, we play 2 Alpha, the Master of Beast. This is very great for the deck, because if your opponent's monster's attacks are higher than yours, you can special summon him. And the Melffy monsters and even the support monsters that we play, their attacks are very low. So most likely you're going to get this effect off. And then you can target beast warriors or winged beasts on your field and bounce them back to your hand, and then bounce back your opponent's monsters or face-up monsters equal to the number you bounce back. And that helps a lot with our Melffys, because if they're bounced back to the hand at the end phase, we can special summon them again. So it helps so much of just removal. Next, we play Valor Fawn. Sorry if I butchered that name. This is more just for rescue cat, but the effect never really comes up too much, but it does. But it still can. It's a level 2 tuner. It says you could discard 1 card, then target 1 level 2 or lower beast in your graveyard except itself. Special summon an attack or defense, and you can only use it once per turn. So we used this card with Mind Mole. So we'll use Rescue Cast, summon these 2, and then Synchro summon for a Naturia Beast. And what Mind Mole says is, once per turn, this card cannot be destroyed by battle. So if you need to stall for a second, there's an option. If this card is sent to the graveyard as a Synchro material, you could draw a card. And if this card is removed from play from the field by opponent's card effect, remove this card from play. Yeah, so it just is banishes itself if some reason your opponent removes it. I'm not really worried about that effect. You're mostly just doing it just to get the draw off, and it just helps with getting advantage. And then we play 2 Ash Blossoms, just a great card. I would run 3 if you can. I just don't have a 3rd one, but great card just to prevent your opponent from playing. And then 1 Ghost Ogre. Again, this is just more for if you want to play it. You don't have to. I like it though. Yeah, so if your opponent a monster on the field activates effect, opponent's monster on the field activates effect, or a spell trap card that's already face up activates effect, quick effect, send this to the graveyard, destroy that card. Doesn't negate it, but still a good option. Again, not needed, but it helps. So that is it for all the monsters. We do play a good amount of monsters, but we also have a good amount of spells as well. So we play 2 Melffy Staring Contests. You may want to play 1 if you want. 2 kind of gets not really needed, so it's not the most useful card, but it can help. So especially if your hand's dead. But you can reveal 1 beast monster in your hand, add a Melffy monster with a different name from the deck or graveyard to your hand, and then place the monster revealed back in the deck. So that helps. So you can reveal any beast monster. It doesn't have to be a Melffy, but you gotta add back a Melffy. And then it says during is it your opponent's? Yeah, during your opponent's battle phase, that's what I thought. You can reveal any number of Melffy monsters in your hand and keep them revealed during the battle phase. And your opponent's monsters lose attack equal to the combined attack and defense of the monsters revealed by this effect. it it mostly depends on your hand, but they can still lose a decent amount of attack to protect your other monsters on the field, mostly your extra deck monsters, but again, we'll talk about that. But yeah, so I do play 2 of those, but feel free to just play 1, and you can even cut it out if you want, but I do like 1 at least. I do play 1 Melffy Hide and Seek. This card I love a lot. It helps so much. So the first time each of your beast monsters would be destroyed by card effect this turn is not destroyed. That is so useful because it's not just Melffys, it's your other beasts as well. It just protects each individual one once per turn by card effect. And then you could target on your turn. You could target 3 monsters in your grave with different names, shuffle them into your deck, and then draw a card. That, again, it doesn't have to be Melffys in your grave, just 3 beasts, and it helps so much. Again, just consistency. I do play 1 because it's not really needed. You don't really need others. You could search this with some cards, the Melffy cards, but it's so good. Next, we play 3 Obedience School. So this is like our other starter for the deck besides Nimble Beaver and Rescue Cat. So Obedience School says you can special summon 3 level 2 or lower beast monsters with different names for your deck, but their effects are negated. Also, they're destroyed during the end phase, so similar to Rescue Cat. But then also, if you activate this, you're locked into beast monsters. Not the worst in the world. You don't have to play this, I say, but just for consistency's sake, I would still say still play because, again, we do have some good beast monsters in the extra deck. And then we play Crossout Designator. You know, just if they try to stop your plays or something, you know, call Ash Blossom, Ghost Ogre. If they happen to have an alpha, you know, call that. But, you know, just a good, protection for your deck. We play Call by the Grave, you know, just to stop opponents' effects from the graves, banish their monsters, and negate their effects. You know, not bad. And then for trap cards, we play 3 Infinite Permanents. Again, from the hand, no cards in the field. Negate a monster effect. And then if it's set, you can negate a monster effect, and then that zone is negated till the end of the turn, or the spell and trap cards are negated to the end of the turn. You know, just Great Disruption, another cross out target. And we play 1 Rivalry of the Warlords. So each person can only control 1 type of monster, and you know, so we do play a few other type of monsters in the extra deck, but if this is up, just play your beast monsters. Again, this may depend on what you want to play. You don't have to play it, but it works pretty well. So that's it for our spells and traps and the main deck altogether. So we'll get into our extra deck. So our extra deck, we play 2 Melffy of the Forest. So Melffy of the Forest is great. You could detach, on your turn, you could detach a material from this card, add a Melffy card from your deck to your hand. So you could add a Melffy monster, you could add Melffy Hide and Seek or Staring Contest, whatever you want. It's great for that. And then it says, if another face-up Melffy you control returns to your hand, except for during the damage step, you could target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls. It cannot attack, and also its effects are negated while it's face-up on the field. So that is really good. It negates it. I don't think till the end of the turn. Your opponent's yeah, no, it just negates it. It's really good. The one problem with this, though, is that unlike Melffy Penny, where you can activate whenever you want after you return the Melffy to your hand, you have to activate this right after you add back your Melffy, or it misses its timing. So your opponent has ways around this card, but it's pretty good still, just to negate stuff. The Ant Search, really good. So we played 2 Joyous Melffys. This card is pretty decent. It's more just for some of our other plays you'll see, but you could detach a material from this card. All your Melffy monsters can attack directly this turn. Pretty good, mainly just for itself, but still pretty good. And then quick effect, you could target one beast monster, XC monster you control, return to the extra deck, then special summon level 2 or lower beast monsters from your graveyard up to the number of materials that monster had. That's really good. You could target itself, you could target, Joyce Melffy, and we'll get into some other beast XCs we have. You could summon back your Melffys, or you could summon back just any of your other level 2 beasts that may be useful for the turn or for the situation. Next we play number FO Utopic Future and then number FO Utopic Draco Future. Don't worry about this card's effects. I never use them, but you just summon him to go into him. Really good. Negates, destroys it and steals it. Pretty good card. We play one gigantic sprite, so you can special summon a level 2 monster from your deck, or a extra deck level 2, rank 2, whatever, from the grave. Your opponent controls a monster. Pretty good. Oh wait, sorry, I think I got that wrong. Yep, I got that wrong, sorry. It does, my bad. I'm thinking of Elf. But if there's a link monster attached to it, it doubles his attack. It does lock into level 2, so you're probably not going to Utopic Draco Future if you summon him, but still worth using just to get your board going. We do play number 45. Sorry, I got the blue text on here. Yeah, number 45, the Prophet, once per turn, detach one material from this card, target one other face-up card in the field. While this monster is on the field, the target monster's effects are negated. While that target is on the field, cards with the same name as a target and their effects cannot be activated. That's pretty good. Also, not just monster, but any card that's on the field. Very useful. It doesn't come up too often, but it helps. I think, yep, I accidentally grabbed it, I think. Oh, no, it's over here. Sorry, I apologize. Misplaced this card. But number 64, Ronin Raccoon. He is so good for the deck if you need a stall. So you could detach XA material to summon a level 1 beast token with attack equal to the highest attack on the field. But if there's another beast monster on the field, this card cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. It is so good if you need a stall and wait some turns. It's not going to win you a game all the time, but if you need a stall, great option. And then we play, Divine Arsenal Zeus, mainly for the Joyous Melffy attacks directly, and then you special summon Zeus to have board wipe. One thing I'll say is try to, for more consistency for Utopic Draco, you may want to get rid of some of these numbers because we do play a little bit, maybe a little bit too much numbers, but overall they're great rank 2s, and then Zeus is great. Going into our synchros, we play 2 Merry Melffys. Again, kind of just how many pennies you play may determine how many Merry Melffys you play, but I do like to play 2 with each of the tuners pennies. So Merry Melffy says, if this card is special summoned, you can target one face-up monster on the field, return it to the hand. So you can either return your Melffys on the field, or you can return your opponent's monsters. That's great. And interestingly enough, if your opponent summons a monster or attacks this monster, it acts like the main deck monsters where it bounces back to the extra deck. But this time, when it bounces to the extra deck, you can special summon Melffy XC monster. So you can summon Melffy of the Forest, Joyous Melffy. I would recommend most likely Melffy of the Forest if it's your opponent's turn, so you could try again negate if you still have a Melffy on the field. But yeah, I love this card. It's great. It gets around destruction effects. Or if a monster can't be destroyed, it gets around that. It's so good. So we do play 1 Herald of Arclight. Again, you could go into this with Penny instead of Merry Melffys, but just Quick effect, you can tribute this card, negate and activate the effect activation of a spell, trap, or monster effect. And if you do destroy that card, if this card is sent to the graveyard, yeah, we don't play ritual, so don't worry about that. But yeah, this is just a negate. We play Naturia Beast. So for the, as I was mentioning with the Mind Mole and the other tuner, we just do from Rescue Cast, summon him. Your opponent activates it, or if any spells activate, but most likely your opponents, you're going to do this. When spell cards activate, quick effects, send the top 2 cards of your deck to the graveyard. Negate the activation. If you do, destroy it. It says this card has to remain on the field for it to go through, so just be aware of that. But, you know, this isn't once per turn, so it's great spell negation against your opponent. And the final card, and one of the most important, is Sprite Elf. So you quick effect, you can special summon level 2 monster from the grave, or a extra deck rank 2 link 2 if your opponent controls a monster. And then wherever his arrows are pointing, if there's monsters there, they're protected from card effects. Just great addition. You know, it may be a little pricey. If you can't play it, no big deal, but try to if you can, because it helps protect your Melffy of the Forest, your Zeus, your Utopic Draco. It just keeps them protected really well. But yeah, that's about it. Let me just spread these out. Yeah, like I said, there is a really fun deck. It's not the best, and as I said, with even the extra deck, like, if you need to get rid of numbers, I would try to get rid of him. But even then, they're, for the most part, every card plays a really good part in the deck. This is for a pure build, obviously. If you want to play sprites, that works well with this. I would get rid of like Obedient School, and especially some of the extra cards I mentioned that you may not want to play more than 2 or 1 copy of. But overall, this is a great deck if you are looking for a budget deck, because you don't need to play Sprite Elf. I think Gigantic Sprite's pretty cheap, so you can still play him. But yeah, that's about it. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you guys later. Thank you.